where you're at in terms of wanting to get young people at the table in terms of climate negotiations, in terms of policy making. Is there anybody within your community yourself that's maybe looking to be more involved with things like COP30, which is sort of coming up this year, or looking to be involved, even if it's sort of the primary discussions that happen within India itself that are going to be taken as policy to COP30?
Yes, definitely. I think that is something that we all are looking forward to with a lot of hope. All eyes are on COP30 and the events that lead up to that. So within the community, I've been engaging with different youth groups, climate action platforms, which are also happening as a part of the UNFCCC ecosystem, including the LCOI, which is Local Conference of Youth, which happens annually in India, along with other significant bodies, international bodies as well, like UNICEF, UVA, who support young people's delegation to COP, and another network, it's called Indian Youth for Climate Network. So these are all networks and platforms which are really leading up to that process of COP30. It is gathering local inputs, and we've been engaging in those discussions. We've been engaging with the people throughout the year, because COP30, while it may happen once a year, all the actions happening from the local to the national to the regional level, it really goes, it feeds into the final output of COP30. So we are trying to engage in those discussions, and I think conversations like this at regional level, a network of South Asian countries, I feel that both of us coming here and sitting together, that's also such a powerful way of young people connecting to really drive conversations and really persist for action. So I also want to really thank you for this initiative, for this beautiful initiative that bring the youth and people from across South Asian countries and more together for solidarity. So I think these small steps and initiatives are already happening, and we really hope right now, while not sure about what will be the youth delegation of the country, but I really hope that whether directly or indirectly, my initiatives, the efforts that are happening at a hyper local level, they really get spaces and representation that and it bridges the gap between the local action and the global vision. So that is what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
So kind of speaking of that bridging of the gap, do you think that, or do you feel that Indian South Asian voices are being heard in these negotiations, that you're being adequately represented on the global stage?
think South Asian voices, specifically in India, specifically for the vulnerable communities, while they're contributing the least, they're affected the most, they are most underrepresented in these global negotiations as well. While countries like ours, they are becoming more vocal, that there's a need for equitable representation that includes grassroots leaders, young people, women, but their lived experiences are still very disconnected from the global policies that are being shaped. So definitely there's really scope for a lot more, and the urgent call is to be more inclusive, to have more vulnerable voices here. As someone who's working with different communities here in India, I've actually seen firsthand what the impacts on women, children look like in urban villages as well as rural towns in different parts of India. From finding women in communities, they're dealing with impact of lack of access to water, which has led to poor menstrual hygiene, malnutrition, degraded health, to hearing stories of like loss of livelihood and violence related recorded during the extreme climate disasters. I think the effects of climate change um, on the vulnerable groups, it's there, and these lived experiences are not yet a part of those discourses. It's really heartbreaking to see that while there are island nations and island states which are almost they are going to be submerged in a couple of years, and they are still being not considered in the priority in terms of climate finance, in terms of mitigation and adaptation efforts. So it's it's just um, it makes you numb sometimes. um, and as a person, what I have been doing is just to uh, work with children. I feel that when I work with children from those underserved communities, why we worked for capacity building with them at the first place is because not just for climate awareness, but actually have them capacitated to go and represent their identities, their communities at the larger platforms as well. And when I see them representing them at one of the Indian hubs, showcase the voices of the children from our project in one of the pavilions, and that was a very proud moment to see how those voices from a small government school has reached to that global process. So these are like little glimmers which personally keeps me going.